welcome back to the stream. It's Saturday, and you know what that means. It's time for the weekend kickoff, our weekly strength and stamina focused bodyweight class. It's also the very end of Rocktober, and it's also Halloween, which is why I have decided that I am 20th century Prince Zagreus. If I had had any more presence of mind, I could have pulled together a better costume for this. But thanks to my friend Felix, I at least have this lovely laurel crown so that I can say that I'm 20th century Prince Zagreus and feel like it's almost true. Anyone who doesn't get that reference, you need to be playing the game Hades. And if you're not, you should, because it's absolutely delightful. Roguelike games are usually really hit or miss for me. This one is a huge hit. It is delightful, cheeky, the gameplay is excellent, and the story actually progresses through the death mechanic, so you don't feel like you're just throwing yourself against a wall by, going out there and then dying over and over again, which is how I feel with a lot of roguelikes. This one builds out the story each time that you reset. So this is not sponsored. I just really love the game. Yeah, the laurel crown's working for me. It is very bright against the jewel tone of my hair, which I'm also kind of digging. Hi everybody, happy Halloween. Happy end of Rocktober. Happy weekend. Yeah, it is a very different Halloween than most of us were expecting. And that, that is sad and that is frustrating. But I very much hope that if this is a holiday that you generally care about, that you are able to do something today that can make you feel in the holiday spirit, whether that's dressing up a little bit for class, or buying a Costco of Halloween candy and watching scary movies all night, or decorating your porch, or what have you. I hope that you are able to do something so that you can have an enjoyable Halloween. Good morning, my dear. Good to see you. I did not get the Jane Fonda costume together, and that's okay. I have it in my head. Really what I'm going to do now is just make an Excel sheet of what are class appropriate Halloween costumes for each year, and I'll just go down the line. But yes, and try and go for a walk, get out of the house, enjoy fall weather. Wear your mask, stay more than 6 feet away from people, but a good walk can be a really wonderful thing to do as well. As we are closing out November, as we're all getting our ballots in, making our voting plans, clinging desperately to our last bits of hope that American democracy survives past Tuesday. Hey, yeah, so it's okay. It's okay. You know what? We're all voting, we're all exercising, and we're here to have some fun. And this is my favorite class of the week. This one, jump around is a close second, but I just really, really love the waking up on the Saturday morning and getting ourselves going. Yay, ballot's already been accepted. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Very glad to hear that. So, week 4. Week 4, and you know what that means. It's going to be intense. So if this does happen to be your very first class, hello, welcome. This will be an intense one to start on. Just know that this is week 4 of a month-long program, and I'm not going to be digging in and demonstrating things with quite as much detail as I usually would, because we've been using the same program all month. And just intensifying the amount of time and reducing the amount of rest. So, everybody who's been here the whole time knows what they're on about. So, I will still do the exercises along with you, so you can still watch me doing the exercises up here. You can throw questions in the chat, but just be aware that this is the culmination of a month-long project, and once we, not next week, but the week after, when we really settle back into some of our more usual cadences, I will go back to, you know, A, designing different programs each week, and B, getting a little bit more into the weeds of form and demonstrating the exercises before we actually do them. But if you're here, welcome. Yeah. So, oh God. I woke up with my nose a little drippy today, and I'm like, well, this is going to be fun for exercising. So if I'm sniffling up here, it's not that I'm sad. It's just that my nose is a little stuffy today. But that's okay. You know, you don't have to worry about that because you're in your living room and I'm in mine. It's the beauty of the Twitch exercise class. All right, let's do our pre-class checklist, my friends. So make sure that you have your water in whatever vessel you decide to store it in. Ah, yes. Good old water. Make sure you have your comfy clothes on. You've got your mat or your mat-sized space on the floor set up. And if you are using a fitness wearable, let's turn them on now to that high-intensity interval training setting. Ugh, trying to crack my shoulder. It is feeling some things this morning. And yeah, I have a feeling that my laurel crown is going to come off in about 2 seconds when we start class. That's okay. That's the beauty of just the one thing, is that I can sort of extricate myself from it when it becomes uncomfortable with a minimum of fuss. I need to find my phone. I have my timer. There it is. All right. So, my friends, let us get started with our warm-up. So, on your mats, on your backs, 1 foot crossed over the opposite knee, and we are going to start with our hip rocks and bridges. Oh yeah, this is coming off immediately. Sorry, laurel crown. It was right under where my head makes contact with the mat, so it was just going to be like this uncomfortable rod of plastic under my head, which I think would have gotten old pretty much immediately. So that's the, you know, I love the idea of us all dressing up for class, but you know, it does need to be, it does need to have a little bit more thought put in than for your average costume, because you need to maintain mobility, and you know, you don't want to be super ridiculously overheated right off the bat. So definitely next year I will try to put a little more thought into the process. This year I'm not gonna worry about not having put thought into the process, because you know what? We've all got so many other things to focus on right now, and it is a-okay if we don't feel able to focus ourselves in on building out an exercise appropriate Halloween costume. We're doing okay. I feel like I do understand now why so often people who are getting costumed for athletic activities tend towards like tutus and stuff like that. Although for this class, I feel like that would be more uncomfortable, because you'd just be lying on a bunch of tulle on the floor, especially right now as we're doing the warm-up. So maybe that's a more appropriate approach for when we're doing road races or something like that. But if you are wearing a costume right now, please do let me know in the chat what that costume is, because I would love to know what people might attempt to do class in. And if you're not wearing anything, welcome to the club, you know? I'll throw the laurel crown back on during our rest periods, or when we're doing more standing exercises, because I think I should be able to leave it on in that instance. But yeah, it's gonna stay over there for a little bit, and that's okay. It is a gorgeous looking day out, that is for sure. Blue skies. The tree outside is officially in its full-on winter mode. No leaves are left. Thank you for your service, dear tree. And the sky is absolutely clear and beautiful. I was looking at the mountains yesterday and just sort of marveling at how clear they were, because it's been a while. I mean, we've been, even before the fires started near where I am, we've struggled so much with wildfire smoke. And over this past week, it was, haze from the fires basically every day. And then it was snowing, so clouds obscuring the mountains. So it's really been a while since I could just look out and sort of take in the full majesty of the foothills. So that was lovely. That was a very nice thing to see, and I do hope it continues. I've sort of fallen away from closely tracking the fires in the last week or so. Thankfully, the ones near me are pretty well contained, so they're not sources of terror like they were the first day that they popped into existence. East Troublesome is still going and definitely still giving cause for concern, but it has not yet, overtaken the town of Estes, which is good. With a lot of friends up there and businesses that I love, so I would be very happy to see Estes Park not get impacted by the second largest wildfire in Colorado history. I don't know what the containment level is for East Troublesome, that's the only thing. And I mean, it's a huge fire at this point. It jumped so massively, and I think it's rounding in on 200,000 acres, if it hasn't gotten there already. And the Cameron Peak fire, which is still going merrily, that's well over 200,000, and it's been burning for over 2 months. And last time I checked was only like 60% contained. Hopefully it's more at this point, but it just tells you what a massive job containing a wildfire is. And I've learned so much more about this process that I never knew before. I have so much respect for all the firefighters who are out there doing that work, and wow, do I suddenly feel so much better about the intensity of Colorado's fire bans during the summer. Colorado is really, really focused on its fire bans, and I understood that it's a very dry place during the summer, like that's obvious to see, but I don't think I had really reckoned with the true power of the wildfire until this year. So so if you're going to any state for some sort of a camping trip or anything, check in on their fire bans and then respect them, whatever they are, please. We had a fire a couple of years ago that was started by a couple of idiots who came in from out of state, and didn't listen to the fire ban and didn't put out their fire correctly, and burned down hundreds of acres. And it's like, don't do that. Fire is a tool and is also dangerous, not just to yourself in your immediate area, but to people miles away who were not involved in the process. So, yeah, not that I've ever been tempted to break the fire bans before, but I really would not be ever again, having watched this fire season in Colorado and knowing that in all likelihood they're just going to get worse each year, you know. So, but for today, it's a beautiful day, and there is no fire visible from my home, which is a huge relief. So I'm going to just settle in and enjoy class as we head into our active stretching portion, waking up our backs and our hips. So we've got our scorpion twists going right now. Make sure those forearms are planted firmly on the ground and are not lifting up at all when you twist. So that provides you a nice stopping point so you can tell where your current flexibility lies. You can feel the difference day after day in terms of how stiff your back was going into it, and you can build up that flexibility slowly and safely. All right. And now for our imaginary PVC pipes. Doing our nice big torso rotations, making sure to change directions every couple of rotations, making sure that we are generating the circle with our hips, not following our arms, not diving our heads down, the hips, and then I just bring the whole torso around like this, okay? So you should be getting a nice hamstring stretch as you go through the bottom point of the circle each time. So just really enjoy that. And now squats, which obviously are very important. You know that we do a lot of squats in today's class. So make sure that you are checking in on your form. This is your first opportunity to do so. So watching your knees, making sure they're going straight over your feet. If you can't do the squat without them trying to cave in towards each other, narrow your stance a little bit. And then get back into it. Go, okay, I can hold and maintain the form in this narrower stance. And then as you get stronger and more confident as you go forward, then you can widen the stance again and see how that feels. All right? All right. Down with our imaginary pipes, on to our Samson stretches. Really getting in there, stretching out the hip flexor. Don't let the hips open up like this. This is a very different stretch. This is a warrior 2 from yoga, and it's not going to be stretching the hip flexor, which is what we're trying to focus on. So you want to make sure that your pelvic bones are pointing forward at every point in this stretch, okay? You've got headlamps on those bones, and they should be pointing forward the whole time, never trying to awkwardly open to the side, all right? And just let yourself sink into the stretch for a second before moving to the other side. All right, here we are. Last but not least, for our nice hips and backs stretching portion. This is getting both of them, obviously, because we've got the nice wide squat position, which is really opening up your hips, and then we're twisting our shoulders one at a time in towards the midline, which gives us a nice twist in the upper back. So our scorpion twists, we really focused on the lower back. This is focusing that twist on the upper back. We're holding that squat position, so we're not trying to move in and out of it. The only things moving are our shoulders back and forth as we do the twist, okay? And as soon as that horn goes, we are out of that world and into our cardio world. So doing our jumping jacks. Here we go. Again, we've not ramped up to full intensity yet. We are still booting up systems. So I'm not doing, full jumping jacks with straight arms and all that stuff. I'm just doing mini jumping jacks, I'm tapping my fingers above my head, but I'm keeping my arms bent, and that's totally fine. We're not trying to go for our widest wingspan or anything like that. We are still booting up, getting our cardiovascular system really dialed in right now. That is the goal of these last 3 exercises. All right. And then we come down to our kick throughs, and I want you to really make sure that you're paying attention to all of the components of this exercise. So I don't want you to be pushing your shoulder too far back from your wrist, okay? The closer it is to directly over your wrist, the more stable that position is going to be. And you want that shoulder stability, okay? Our shoulder, as we've talked about, it's a ball and socket joint, so it's designed to move, but it is also really important that it has the ability to stabilize and hold when it needs to. And something like this is exactly where it needs to, okay? All right. Last but not least, here we are in our burpees, really enjoying nice big victory clap at the top. Make sure you're doing a wave push-up, not a plank push-up, okay? Even if you really want to be doing a plank push-up, that is not what the exercise is. And remember, this is the end of our warm-up. So after this, we are digging fully into class. So you have turned all the keys, you have pressed all the on switches, you have sent appropriate notification to all of the systems in your body. And now it's time to exercise. Oh, happy Halloween to me. Thanks, Amanda. Oh, just above freezing with clear skies. I love weather like that. It is a little warmer than I wish it was today. But, that's Colorado. It goes back and forth and does its thing. So, oh, yeah, there we go. There we go. All right, we're warmed up. How you feeling? Are you feeling pumped for the rest of class? I know that those of you who've been taking October know how intense this is going to be. We're starting out with our pyramids, so 21 reps, 15 reps, 10 reps. We've got our 3 exercises, squat jumps, push-ups, and the full body pike and extension. And today, you're only going to get 9 minutes to finish that, okay? So we've been slowly ratcheting down the amount of time that we get to finish that, and today we're going down to 9 minutes, all right? I paid attention to the timing last week. I think that this is totally doable, so, but you are gonna have to really dig in, minimize the rest time that you take in between exercises, really focus in on getting all of those reps done in a timely fashion, okay? All right. Oh yeah. See, that's the best of both worlds, right? Where the streets are good, but the snow is still beautiful all over the lawns and such. All right, my friends. So here we are. We are gonna get started. So onto your mats. Get ready, get set. Here we go. 9 minutes. So make sure that you are really being honest with yourself about how much rest time you actually need, because I am willing to bet that at this point, after the number of weeks that we've been doing this, I am willing to bet that the amount of rest time you need is much less than it used to be, and less than you necessarily want it to be. But that's what we're doing today. This is our biggest challenge yet, and I want you to really rise to that challenge, okay? Yeah, it is intense. Make sure that you're breathing the whole time. Nice dramatic breaths give us more energy and more power to go through each of the exercises. So always keep that in mind as you're going ahead, that if you're really struggling to move all the way through the exercise, a nice dramatic exhale can be just the thing that you need. All right? Oh man, counting while talking is really hard, friends. Holy crap. It is incredibly difficult to maintain that count in my head while also still talking to you. So, all right, we're 2 minutes in. Remember, you only have 9 minutes. So, take the rest that you need, but be honest with yourself when you're like, okay, I'm just stalling now. All right? Because I promise that it will end up being so much easier than you think it will if you just get going, okay? When we give ourselves too much time to think too hard about what we're doing, that's when we start to psych ourselves out and to, convince ourselves that we can't do the thing that we're trying to do. We can do it, okay? And it's important to just always remember that. Remember that you can absolutely do what you're trying to do. It just may not feel very comfortable. But that's okay. And you saw in there, or maybe you didn't, I took a quick break in between the first 10 and the last 5 push-ups. And that's okay, okay? be cautious with that because it is just as likely to throw us way off if we do that. You know, sometimes when you get into the zone, then you're in a good rhythm, and stopping, even if you feel like you really need a rest, can throw you out of that rhythm and actually make the last reps that you need to do feel harder, okay? So whenever I give you full power and control over taking those rests, make sure that you are paying attention to how you use them. They're a tool, they can also be dangerous, just like fire. All right, 5 minutes in. So you have 4 whole minutes to finish what you're doing. And remember, if you finish early, you get that much more rest time. So another reason to just really push ourselves through. Try not to settle too far into rest periods, and just really dig in and go, all right, I will get rewarded at the end of this with more rest time than I thought I was going to get. And isn't that always a really nice thing? Yeah, push-ups, definitely one of my Achilles heels, to forgive the mixed metaphor, but we're so close. I hope that you're still breathing, which is obviously really important here as we go through these exercises. All right, 3 more minutes. Well, 2.5 more minutes. Look at you. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Congratulations. And now you get all this extra time to rest, which is so nice. Whew. Let me tell you, my arms are feeling a little bit wobbly right now. Hey, wall push-ups are totally legit. Again, we talk about modifications, right? We talk about having that aspirational position we want to get to and understanding all the modifications that we can use as we progress towards it. Wall push-ups, awesome, okay? They are still working your arms. They are still giving you an awesome workout, and they're helping you strengthen at a pace that is safe for your body. So, yay. So many windows now. Yeah, I obviously don't really have any wall space either, as evinced by the fact that every time I demonstrate those calf stretches, I have to be like, imagine that I'm pressing up against a wall, because I don't have a wall to do that against. So I understand. Ooh, I'm gonna drink some water, my friends. If you're still going, you have 1 minute left, okay? 1 minute. Imaginary walls can be very stable. No, it is absolutely a theater class exercise, you know? I am visualizing the wall. The wall is now real to me. There's a lot of power in that. I mean, I've talked about visualization as a tool in our fitness classes before. There is a lot of power to building out our capacity for imagination, okay? Never underestimate it. It can be really, really useful. All right. If you're still going, you're doing great. You've got 20 seconds left. So nice deep breaths, lots of power. We're pushing through. You've totally got this. You just need to finish out your full body pike extensions. You've got 5 seconds. You're so close. Totally gonna get there. Good job. All right, if you're still finishing up, that's okay. We've got the rest timer on, so you'll just have a little bit less rest time. But good job, everybody. Look at what 4 weeks can do. Our first week, we were taking 12 minutes to finish that. And today, we got it done in 9. Some of us got it done in like 6, which is amazing. All right. Oh, I mean, you know I miss theater because, well, this was going to be the year that I really tried to get back into acting, and then COVID. But yeah, theater, it's hard to be without it right now. But I would rather we all kept ourselves safe so that we can get back to having theater. Okay. Lots of water, my friends. That was a hell of a start to class, huh? Alrighty. And now we're doing perpetual motion sets. 1 minute work intervals. Oh, it's going to be intense. This is the last year. Yeah, except that I got to build this up, so it's not a full lost year. There were still things that were able to happen, which is good, but there are also a lot of dreams that got deferred or destroyed. Anyway, too much philosophy at 9:30 on a Saturday morning. Okay, so perpetual motion, 1 minute work intervals. Our first set, oh man, front plank, kneel to squats, and ankle reaches. So let's really keep breathing. The front plank is going to be super intense after having just done all those push-ups. So you're going to really need to breathe, okay? That is going to have to be your focus point. All right, everybody on your mats, get ready. As soon as you hear that horn, we are getting into that front plank. All right, so my shoulders directly over my elbows, so I've got that nice perpendicular line between my upper arm and the floor, and everything else is nice and elongated. I'm not pushing my butt up into the air. I'm keeping everything nice and straight. You better believe my core is engaged, my glutes are engaged, and my quads are engaged too to help maintain all of this. And I want you to remember to breathe, okay? It is so important when we do these held positions. We have a tendency to try and hold our breath at the same time, but our muscles still need that oxygen. They still need to be able to break down their fuel sources so that they can get the energy to hold a position like this. Your muscles are working hard, okay? So don't deprive them of that oxygen. Always check in, be like, am I breathing? And if the answer is no, then start breathing. All right. Now we're doing our kneel to squats, remembering to keep our heads the same distance from the floor the whole time, okay? So I've got a nice flat back at a bit of an angle. Again, my core is really heavily engaged, and when I get up into that squat, it's a really low squat position, okay? So you don't want to lift yourself up too far, because then your head will no longer be that same distance from the ground. All right, here we are at our ankle reaches, remembering that what's driving the lift is my core engagement, okay? I'm not pulling myself up with my head or with my arms. I am engaging my core, and that is lifting my head and my chest away from the ground so that I can reach that hand to the outside of the opposite ankle, okay? Keeping those legs as straight as possible, going directly up towards the ceiling, okay? This is the aspirational position. I really want you to try and hit it. Oh, all right. And now you're going back into that front plank. Oh, my friends. This is so amazing. I feel like this is the class where I can really feel my own improvements over the last month. And it's the thing about focusing in on the strength and stamina work. You know, when we're doing cardio or we're doing perpetual motion and we're sort of fixated on the fact that we don't get to stop moving, our brain is not necessarily really focusing in on how much easier things might feel. Today's class, you can really dive in and go, okay, wow, this feels a lot easier than it did 4 weeks ago. I'm not vibrating as much trying to hold this position. I'm better able to breathe. I'm better able to transition from that front plank into those kneels to squats. And you can really notice all of the improvements. Improvements in strength, improvements in stamina, and improvements in stability. So I want you to really try and focus in on that today, because that is what we've been doing for this last month. And, you know, we've talked about how sometimes it can be really easy to not notice the improvements that we're making until one day all of those cumulative improvements are impossible to ignore anymore. Okay? So let's make that the day. Let us consciously pay attention to what we're doing and go, wow, I really have improved a lot over these last 4 weeks. And pat yourself on the back, metaphorically, because you're in the middle of doing some stuff, but pat yourself on the back and just always remember how impressive you are and how impressive your progress is. You know, we set up this month to be a deliberately challenging month, a month where we were really focusing in on pushing ourselves to whatever our next level is. And I am willing to bet that you are all feeling that, you know, and you should be super, super proud, because it's been no joke. Anybody who tries to denigrate the intensity of workout that you can get with body weight is just has not ever really tried a good body weight class. This is intense stuff that we're doing. And when you can feel those improvements, you should really take that opportunity to just be proud of yourself and just go, wow, my muscles are definitely getting stronger. My stamina has increased. I can hold this plank position without feeling like I am immediately going to be overwhelmed when I drop out of it. You know, when we start doing planks and we get so quickly to that point where we're like, if I don't drop out of this, I will die. You know? And so to get to a point where we're like, not only do I not get there immediately, but I can really dig in and hold here for a lot longer than I used to be able to. And then I can immediately go into this next exercise and not feel completely overwhelmed or like I am going to fall over immediately when I'm done with the exercise. Okay? So notice these things. Be proud of yourself for these things, because I noticed them in myself, and you know, it's exciting. It's exciting to feel those changes and to know that I am really doing some great work for myself, strengthening myself and just helping myself to be as badass as I possibly can. All right. I notice, well, I won't dig into that right now. All right, here we are, our last exercise in this set. And honestly, it's kind of nice. It's kind of a relief to end on an exercise that mostly has us lying on the ground. Now, that does not mean that we get to skimp on the core engagement or that we get to stop focusing on keeping our legs going straight up. If you do need to add a bit of a bend to the knees, make sure you bend them and bring them towards your body rather than bending your feet farther away, okay? You want to make sure that you don't lose your ability to reach up to the outside of that ankle. Oh, all right. Good job, everybody. Holy crow. Let's get some water right now. Much better. That's a good thing to recognize. That is a good thing to recognize. And again, aspirational positions, right? So if you're struggling with doing the kneel to squats because you don't feel like you can squat that low, one of the things you can do is just not start your head as low as I do. You know, the reason that my head is this low is because I'm letting my butt come out behind me. I've got this flat back and I'm leaning it forward. If you're not there yet, you can take a higher stance and then the squat is not as low and you're not struggling quite as much with it, okay? So, yeah, squats and thigh strength, beautiful things, intense things. Our legs do yeoman's work every day, carrying all of our weight from one place to the other. So, thank you, legs. Good job. Okay, speaking of squats, our next set, we've got our alternating one-legged squats, and then we've got our elbow side plank, sides 1 and 2. So here we are really digging in to those major muscle groups. We're really focusing a lot of work in on the thighs today. We're really focusing a lot of work into our arms, our upper arms today. So take those nice deep breaths, get those last sips of water, and then get yourself back on your mat. And as soon as you hear that horn go, we will start going. So down to one side, make sure that other leg is completely extended. And then we basically push ourselves up to this wide standing position and then down to the other side, okay? So we're not going for speed. We are moving slowly and deliberately. We want to make sure that we're protecting our knee, so our knee is still going straight over that foot. And then we push up here and then come down on the other side, okay? So we are not trying to injure ourselves or go bouncing from side to side. You want to really focus in deliberately on moving from one side to the other. All right, and then we extend out into our side plank. So hips nicely up from the floor, that shoulder directly over the elbow, other arm reaching up into the air. You should look up towards that hand
if at all possible, if you have that balance. And that can help you just remember to keep everything moving upward towards the ceiling. So we don't let our hips start to sag down. Again, we talk about visualization, visualizing that there is a string attached to the top of our hip and it's just getting pulled up towards the ceiling, okay? And you can imagine the same thing with that hand, that there's a string attached to the fingertips, pulling them upwards. All right, and over on our other side. So again, breathing, making sure that we are inhaling and exhaling, getting all that oxygen in. Make sure that your shoulder is engaged and stable. Your shoulder also should not be sinking down towards the floor any more than your hips or your arms should be, okay? You need to make sure that that strength and stability has been fully engaged in that shoulder and that it is not going to fall all over the place, okay? Our shoulder is one of our most unstable joints and we need to protect it, okay? We need to protect it. And we don't get taught that skill nearly as much as we should. And you know that I've talked about that a bunch, but you see it a lot in some of my older athletic friends. You know, the most common injuries, chronic injuries that my friends complain about, shoulder injuries. I have 2 friends who have gotten shoulder surgery this year, and it was not their first shoulder surgery, okay? So the more effort that we can put into really focusing on strengthening and stabilizing our shoulders when we need to, the better and safer they'll be. We don't always need to. They're a ball and socket joint for a reason, but we need to be able to recognize the times when I don't need that flexibility. What I need is for that shoulder to be strong and to hold position and to not let itself get dragged around, okay? Speaking of shoulders, we're back on side 1 of our side plank. So the easiest thing to go wrong in the side plank is our hips slowly starting to droop back down towards the floor, okay? So that's one of the reasons why looking up at the ceiling helps to just remind your brain, that can then in turn remind your body, oh, that's right, I should be getting pulled up towards the ceiling right now. You know, when you can switch how you, again, visualize it from I am pushing myself off the floor to I am being pulled up towards the ceiling, that can help, that can make a difference in terms of making it feel easier to hold and maintain that position. You know, when we're pushing up from the floor, we're, you know, fighting against weight, against gravity, and that can feel really overwhelming. Whereas if we're being pulled up towards the ceiling, then we're getting that assistance and we give ourselves permission to feel a little lighter and to not get bogged down by the intensity of the held position, okay? So again, just lots of little ways that we can train our brains to think slightly differently about what we're doing, and through that can build even more capacity for strength and power and stamina. All right, so now coming back to our third and final time, enjoy the hamstring stretch that you get here, okay? Love that hamstring stretch. This is a good, you know, strength exercise for the legs, but it's also a good active stretch for those hamstrings. So enjoy both components of that. And again, we're not going for speed here, my friends. We want to be safe and deliberate this whole time. So I'm moving pretty slowly back and forth, and that is totally okay. All right? Whew. Yeah. All right. That was probably the worst position for me to be in before switching to this next side, but it's all right. I got there. Okay, so here we are. Last time on the first side. So really extending up towards the ceiling. Those nice deep breaths. Every time you inhale, visualize all the oxygen going straight to wherever you are feeling the most intensity in your body. It's probably going to be the glute that is closest to the ground. So breathe towards that sensation. Imagine all that oxygen running through there, helping to revitalize it, and then you're exhaling all of the junk, all of that sensation out. As we move to the other side for our last held side plank. Again, everything we just talked about stays the same. Notice the texture of your ceiling. Do you have wallpapering? Do you have a nicely painted ceiling? Do you have this weird spackly shit that I have on mine? Is it a wooden beam ceiling, or is it painted over? You know, notice all of those details as you hold, as your hips move up towards the ceiling, as you feel the strength and power of your shoulder holding you up, not sinking down until you're able to rest. Oh man, yeah. Roll your shoulders a little, okay? That was a lot of intensity. We just did front planks and then side planks. So, roll your head back and forth a little bit. Never shy away from the opportunities to do a little stretching while we're in our rest periods. Yeah, I'm feeling that too, my friend. Holy crow. All right, let's get some good drinks of water, because we are about to head into our last sequence. So, our last perpetual motion run. Again, 1 minute. And we've been doing a great job. We've been working so hard. I don't know about you, but I am roll sweaty right now. Really looking forward to that post-workout shower, is for sure. So we've got our final set left, and it's toe squats, and then flying chickens, and then our held front superhero position. Remember, you can add in the arm movement if you need to add a little bit of movement in there, okay? But otherwise, you're holding that position. Yeah, very, very sweaty. Means that you can take an awesome shower and then have an awesome breakfast afterwards. It is definitely what I'm planning to do. All right, my friends. We've got this. We have, yes, lunch on the East Coast, I suppose. All right, we have come so far, and we just have to go a little bit farther, and we can totally do it. So everybody back on your mats. As soon as you hear that horn, we are doing our toe squats. Remember, you need to have your core engaged so that The upper body is not going anywhere that you don't expect it to go, okay? We really want to control all of the parts of this exercise. So we're not bouncing when we get down to the bottom, and we're not wrenching ourselves all over the place in an effort to hold that balance, okay? So check in, nice calm breaths, and we are really focused in, feeling our legs. I am feeling my legs, let me tell you. And now, flying chickens. We've got our thumbs at chest height. If you wear a bra, then hooking your thumbs behind your bra straps is a really good way to keep everything in line appropriately. We're not going for huge jumps because we're going for consistency, a little bit of speed. You know, this is the one big cardio thing that we've done all class, and we want to be able to hang in there and really get it done. So don't think that you have to jump your feet out super wide, okay? All right, and now that held front superhero. Legs lifted off the floor, chest and head lifted off the floor. Adding in this little bit of arm movement really helps to keep you held in all other parts of this move, hold, whatever I should call it. So do not be afraid to do these little arm movements. So I'm bending at the elbows, pushing the arms back, bending at the elbows, pushing the arms forward. All right? And that helps me to keep everything nice and high off the ground. Okay, my friends, you're going into round 2. So back to those toe squats. Remember that you don't want to let gravity take control. So no bouncing down at the bottom, okay? Make sure that you are controlling the movement at all points, all right? Because if you bounce around down at the bottom, it's bad for your knees. You're gonna put some unhealthy pressures on your knees. So really make sure you're controlling your breath, you're controlling your movement. Check in on that core. Is it engaged? Helping to stabilize all of the weight of your torso so that nothing is going in a direction that your foot and ankle don't expect it to. All right, and now doing your second run of those flying chickens, okay? Checking in on form. We still need to check in on form, even this far through class, all right? So make sure that there's not too many ways to get the form wrong from flying chickens, but still check in on your core. Have some of that core engagement so that you're not sort of flinging your limbs out. Again, you want predictability. You want to understand when you jump how far out your legs are going and where they need to land again, okay? And part of that is maintaining that control and maintaining some engagement activation in some of those stabilizing muscle groups in the core. You know how much I love the core. All right, getting back into second run through our front held superhero. You're flying through the air. You're not a bird. You're not a plane. You're not Superman. You are you. And you are amazing. Look at how far through class you've gotten. This is crazy. This has been a full hour of class, and we have not been holding back. We have not been stinting ourselves. We've not been giving ourselves a lot of room for rest or just hanging out. We've been working hard, and you should be incredibly proud of that, because this is the culmination of 4 weeks of work, 4 weeks of ramping up this intensity, of really getting to feel the evolution in our strength from when we started this program 4 weeks ago, and we were taking 12 minutes to finish the pyramids, and we were doing 30-second work intervals for all of these perpetual motion sets, to now where you finished your pyramids in fewer than 9 minutes, and you're doing a full minute each for all of these exercises for a perpetual motion. This is so intense, and the fact that you are able to not only get through class today, but crush it, should be a really clear marker of how much you've improved, how much you've grown over this month, okay? And it can be really easy for us to lose track of our achievements. You know, we get stuck in the weeds of, oh, well, I'm not perfect right away, or I'm not seeing this specific improvement as quickly as I expected to see it, and then we start getting down on ourselves. We start thinking that we're doing something wrong, or that there's no point in continuing to do this because we're not getting the improvements that we think we should be seeing. But you are absolutely improving, and even if it doesn't look like what you thought it would, that does not make it any less amazing or any less impressive that you have made it here, week 4. You're holding this front superhero for a full minute, and you are bringing your breath under control, and you know, or I hope you know, that you are an absolute badass, because you have made it all the way through this class and all the way through this month, and you have improved. You really have. And I am so proud of everyone who stuck through this, who came on this journey with me. I'm proud of myself. I can feel my own improvements, and we have all really crushed it, and we should all, as soon as that timer goes, pat ourselves on the back because we have made it. Woo! All right, my friends. Oh, you know what I really need is some quad stretching. And I bet you do too, because these quads did a lot of work for us today, and it's time for us to return the favor. Okay, so let's get into position for my favorite quad stretch. Whichever leg you're stretching out first, you are folding it so the heel is on the outside of the hip, but pull that heel in as close as possible. Your other leg, the knee just sort of falls open. I've got that foot here by the knee. Make sure that this knee, the knee on the working leg, is not pulling up from the floor as you get into position, okay? And then we start going backwards only as far as you need to feel that nice intense stretch along the quad. So if that's here, awesome, stay there. If that's here, awesome, stay there. Or maybe it's all the way down here, awesome, there's nowhere for you to go anyway. So settle into your position. Remember to move slowly into the stretch so that you can lengthen that muscle without the brain trying to send a signal to activate it. Because when we activate our muscles, their natural inclination is always to contract. We don't want our quad trying to contract right now. We want it nice and relaxed so that we can lengthen it safely, all right? Now we're gonna take 4 deep breaths each time you exhale, just trying to sink a little more deeply into that stretch. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. All right. Now, we very carefully, not very gracefully, sit back up. Now take your hands, one to the knee, one to the ankle, and unfold the leg like that. Not using the legs' power, but using your hands. Extend your feet, your legs in front of you, shake out those knees. Then flex the feet, and point, and flex, and point, and circle. First in one direction, and then the other direction. All right, and now let's do the same thing on the other side. So all the same form notes apply. You may be able to go further down on this side. You may not be able to go as far down on the side, or you may be relatively symmetrical, which is rare, but I suppose it does sometimes happen. Again, you want to move slowly into position. Really settle in calmly, let the leg muscle lengthen without also it trying to contract. Once you've settled in, we're going to take those same 4 deep breaths. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. Nicely done. Let us carefully pull ourselves back up, hands to knee and ankle, unfold that leg, shake out those knees in front of you, flex the feet, and point, and flex, and point, and circle the ankles, first one direction, and then the other direction. All right. One more stretch. I think we're going to do our pretzely stretch because I'm feeling pretzely. So take one leg and fold it so that the heel is on the outside of the opposite hip, okay? Right up against it. With your other leg, you want to take that foot, put it flat on the floor next to this knee, and then take your opposite arm, hook it around this knee, and pull it in towards your chest. So you're feeling a nice big stretch there in your hip, okay? Then we're going to turn back this way, twist, a nice big twist. I'm reaching my arm directly behind me and I'm looking back towards it. Okay, so we've got nice stretch in the hip, nice twist in the back. Let's just take 2 breaths here. That's 1. And 2. And then come to the front. Take this ankle, bring it up on the knee. My foot is flexed to help protect this knee, because what we're going to do now is we're just going to fold forward and really intensify the stretch in that hip, okay? Oh yeah. You may not have to go far down at all to feel that stretch. Shake your head out so that you're not clenching with your neck. And let's take 4 deep breaths here. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. Up. Shake those knees out. And then let us get into the same position, opposite side. So 1 heel on the outside of the opposite hip. So this is the hip that's going to get stretched out, the one that has the heel next to it. Taking my arm, pulling that knee into my chest so I really can feel that stretch, particularly on the outside of my hip. Add that twist into my back. I'm reaching directly behind me and looking back towards that arm. Let's take our 2 deep breaths here. That's 1. And 2. Back to the front. Bring that ankle up onto the knee, flexing this foot to protect this knee, and folding over. You get that nice deep stretch in the hip. We're going to do 4 deep breaths here. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. And up. Shake those knees out. And then pat yourself on the back. Yay, pretzel indeed. All right, my friends, 20th century Prince Zagreus decrees that you have come to the end of Rocktober. Holy cow. Good job. It has been quite a journey for all of us, and I still can't quite believe that we made it through an entire month already, but I have absolutely loved doing this sequence, doing this program. I hope you have too. I'm excited for next week because we're going to run all these programs one last time in their original form so that you can really dig in and see how much easier everything feels to you now. Okay? So I'm excited to feel that because I can tell that I've definitely seen some improvements in terms of strength, stability, power, and I'm really looking forward to being able to compare what we did today with what we did back at the beginning of the month. Like, that's going to be so cool. Yes. Yes. Be here live for that. It'll be amazing. But, man, yeah, I'm really thrilled. This was absolutely wonderful. And I can't wait to do more programs like this, more extended programs like this. So I'm going to be
I'm going to be there will be plans. There will be big plans, my friends. All right. This is the end of October. This is also the end of the broadcast week. This is also the last class in October. We will start back up again next week with our usual schedule. Tuesday at 5:45 p.m. Mountain Time, we'll have Perpetual Motion, the class where we never stop moving. Wednesday at 4:30 p.m., we will have Jump Around, our weekly cardio class. Friday at 6 p.m., we will have Functional Home Fitness, where we do weight training with objects you can find around the house. And we will then circle back around to Saturday morning at 9 a.m. with the weekend kickoff. And holy cow, it'll be November. We will have fallen back in terms of daylight savings. We do that, basically tonight. So just remember that for tomorrow in particular. Tuesday is election day. If you have not yet voted, if your ballot has not yet been officially accepted, please make a plan, check in, make sure that you know where your drop boxes are or where your polling place is. Do not let anyone disenfranchise you. And no matter which way Tuesday goes, remember that we still will have a lot of work to do regardless after the election. So we're here and we're working out so that we have the energy to keep fighting the fights that we need to try and make this world a better and safer and happier place for everybody. Yes, everybody. Yeah, that's the biggest thing right now, my friends. If you are an American, we need to all be getting out there, and we need to be voting, and then we need to not drop the ball after the vote, okay? We need to keep working. It's been far too easy for many of us, particularly white folks like myself, to just go back into dreamland and not pay attention to the pain and suffering that's not directly impacting us. And we can no longer do that. We should never have been doing it. We are unconscionably late to this party, but we need to not do that. More than ever, we need to make sure that we are out there doing everything that we can to protect the marginalized, the people who are most in danger in this country. Yes, in actual physical danger in this country. We need to build a better world for them. And we need to put in so much effort for that, because they've been out there trying to do that work for far too long. And they don't have the luxury that we do of getting to sink back into blissful ignorance. And we should not allow ourselves that luxury either. Okay? Oh gosh. Good. And that, kids honestly give me a lot of hope right now. Like, I know a lot of really incredible children, and, teens. My non-biological niece is 12 now, and, she's got non-binary friends as a 12-year-old, which, like, I didn't even know anyone in my class who was openly gay when I was in high school, let alone anywhere else on our wonderful LGBTQA plus spectrum. So the fact that she lives in a world where her compatriots feel safe to be open and honest about who they are is just, it gives me a lot of hope. It gives me a lot of hope. And we need to remember that hope right now. There's a lot of work. We should not minimize that, but we need to remember that the reason we're doing that work is the hope that we can truly build a better world. So there you go. That was probably not the ending to Rocktober you were expecting, but it's important stuff to talk about. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All of my handles will be in the end cards, but they're all variations on Blanche Case Fitness. My YouTube channel, Blanche Case Fitness, is where I upload all of the VODs from this channel, and there'll be plenty of supplemental materials going up in the next few months, so definitely subscribe over there if that's your jam. If you want to help support me financially in making these streams, I do have a coffee account, Blanche Case Fitness, and your donations are always very much appreciated. And if you want to help me keep building this channel, my Christmas present to myself, if I can make it happen, would be getting the Twitch affiliate. Please do follow this channel. Tell your friends, loved ones. I also do one-on-one personal training, so if you know anybody who's looking for remote coaching right now, absolutely contact me for that as well, because that is another thing that I do. Oh my God, I was about to fully close out, but I love this. Amanda, your book group kids are amazing. Oh, see, yeah, the kids are all right. The kids are already paying attention to racism, water rights, industrial pollution in predominantly black residential areas. Like, the kids give me hope, and let's do what we can to help them. All right, my loves, enjoy the rest of your Halloween. Take a shower, have an amazing breakfast, and then get dressed up in a costume just for the hell of it. You know, I know that many of us are nerdy, shall we say, and we probably have lots of costume stuff hanging around in our closets. Just throw something on. Go for a walk in a costume today. Not because you're trick-or-treating, just because you can. Yeah, you know, and enjoy this day as best as you can. Go trick-or-treating in Animal Crossing if you play Animal Crossing, and just have an amazing end to October, and I will see you all back here on Tuesday. Mwah. Have a great day.